Hello, booktubing world. It is I, Capri Nicole, and I am back with another video. So today it is very early. I had to wake up early to be able to do this video because I have a whole bunch of things that I have to do also early. So I was like, let me just do this early in the morning. So if my voice is a little raspy, that's why, because I just woke up. But today will be my first book unhaul. Now, this might be a little difficult for me because I am a person that holds sentimental value to books. Like, it makes me think about when I bought it, what I was doing when I bought it, if I was happy when I bought it, how I felt when I bought it. Like, every book that I have has some type of emotion or story to it. So it may be a little difficult for me, but books that I know I'm not going to read, or books that have been gifted to me that I'm not a fan of, or books that I didn't enjoy, I'm just gonna unhaul, because at this point I have so many books. I have 2 crates over there outside of this bookshelf that are full of books, and I want to just like organize and unhaul. So this video will be me picking the books that I'm gonna unhaul, and I know that there's an unhaul challenge, but I kind of just want to go through them all and be like, am I gonna read this? Do I want to read this book? If I read it, do I like it? No. If anybody is watching this and you gifted me these books, or if anybody is watching this and this is one of your favorite books and you just don't want to see me unhaul it, I apologize, but it has to go. I just want to unhaul, and then I'm going to use the books that I unhaul and make a bookish tree, because I've been on Pinterest pretending that some of these creative things that I can do, and I wanted to make a bookish tree. So instead of like unhauling them and sending them directly to a used bookstore, I'm going to unhaul them, make a little bookish tree, and then, like, you know, January of next year I'll send them to a used bookstore. So yeah. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is go through the ones that I need to go through. Military book, I cannot get rid of this. So I just unhauled all the books that I'm going to unhaul from my shelves, and I'm kind of shocked. Like, I thought that I would not have enough books for this, and I literally have 3 stacks. Stack 1, stack 2, and stack 3. So these are all the books that I'm going to use to try to make a little bookish tree in a little corner over here next to my bookshelf. But we're just going to chit chat about some of these books, okay? Get into these little mini books. So these books that I have are, some of these just, okay. Talk Nerdy to Me, First Love, Friends and Lovers, Between Lovers, and Lipstick Jungle. So yeah, these 2 books I got during school, and they were doing like kind of like to grab and take from the library. So I was like, oh, free books, you know, your girl is on it. So I just went over there and just started grabbing books that I thought I would like to read, and literally never read them. I was just like, okay, free books, and then I never read them. They were in the back of my shelf. I didn't even know they were back there still. So, and I found out some of these are actually like sequels or fourth books in the series, so it's just like I don't even know what I was doing. But yeah, so these gotta go. And then these books are like urban books, like these are by Eric Jerome Dickey, and a lot of these books I grabbed from my mother's shelves growing up, so I actually need to check and make sure that these are not her books, because I don't want to unhaul something that is not even mine. But I know I found this book. I don't even know where I found this book. I had started reading it and then I was just like, okay, yawn. And then these two, I don't know, I'm not sure. They might be my mother's books, so I need to actually check and find out, because I can't be unhauling books that are not mine. But those are the first few. The next ones are Sweet Persuasion, Leia, On the Offbeat, Bye Girl, and Ship It. So Sweet Persuasion, I actually think this is like a series, and it's kind of like an erotica book, and a lot of my books on my shelf are actually erotica books because I love those types of books. When I first started reading, that's kind of what I was into, and still into, but it's not as much. And I actually have 2 copies of this, so I'm gonna just unhaul this one. And Leia on the Offbeat, girl, this has to get off of my shelf. I really didn't want to get rid of it because I love the cover. Like, I really like the cover. I like that they got juicy girl reputation. Like, I don't like saying fat girl. Like, I know some people are offended by that word, but I don't like saying fat girl. But they got juicy girl rep on here. She looks gorgeous. The cover is like bam in your face. I love it. But I really just did not like this book, and I remember how frustrated I was reading this. So in the end, I really need to just unhaul this book, because every time I look at it, I just get angry, because I just know how much I was angry during reading this. So it gotta go. And then Ship It, another book that I was really frustrated reading. I tried reading this during a 24-hour readathon because I can't remember what booktuber I was watching, but they were raving about this book. And then when they showed the cover, I was like, I am sold. Like, I just love the cover. And then I was like, oh, this might be interesting. It's kind of like about fangirls, and no, this book frustrated me. It made me want to scream. The main character was extremely problematic, so I just need to unhaul this bad boy, but I'm sad to see the cover go. And the next few that I have are Big Little Lies, The Hunt, Slammed by Colin Hoover, Point of Retreat, Shame on It All. So Big Little Lies was actually gifted to me by one of my soldiers. She sees me read all the time, and she just had this book, and she was like, hey, Sarah Stewart, do you want to check this out? And I was like, sure. So I read it, but it's not really something that was my thing. It was a really hefty book. It was funny, but it was really predictable, and I kind of just like knew all the plots, and I knew everything that was going to happen from the beginning. It wasn't a bad read, but it just really wasn't something that like is for me. I did finish it. Yeah, and I think they made this into like a show, so I'm not sure, but yeah, it's just not for me, so bye-bye. The Hunt is another book that actually I got at the library during their grab free book thing, and this is actually like the 4th book or something like that in the series, so I don't even know why I grabbed this, but bye girl. And Shame on It All, I think that I bought this book, but again, I need to check with my mother, because when I was younger, I would just grab her books and read them, and this is Zane. So yeah, my mom had a lot of Zane books. Yeah, so I need to check and see if this is actually her book before I unhaul it, but this has to get off of my shelf because nah. And Point of Retreat and Slammed by Colin Hoover is the 1st and 2nd book in the series, I believe. And I remember loving the 1st book, but then I can't remember. I think there's 3. I think there's 3 in this series, and I remember like the 2nd one was like repetitive of the 1st one, and the 3rd one was no. I just remember the excitement of this series just going downhill for me, and I didn't really like the story anymore, so I was just like, why do I still have these? These need to go. Okay, so like the 1st book I enjoyed, but then the 2nd book I was like, why? The 3rd book I was like, why? So at this point, when I look at these books, I kind of get frustrated, so I just need to unhaul. Next few that I have is Jellicoe Road and Bend in the Road. What's up with all these damn roads? Okay, It's a Wonderful Death and Chicken Noodle Soup for the Soul from Lemons to Lemonade. Bend in the Road was another book that was gifted to me by one of my soldiers. She told me like, Sarah Stewart, you really gotta read this book. It's so good, blah, blah, whatever. And it was okay, but you know, all the characters I really didn't like that much. They kind of were boring to me, and the plot was good. it was okay, but it just really wasn't like, I really need this on my shelf, so I'm gonna unhaul this one. Chicken Noodle Soup for the Soul. This one's hard to get rid of because my mom grew up reading these to us, so like every time I see a Chicken Noodle Soup book, I have to get it. I love the stories, I love just the realistic vibes, but honestly this book has just been collecting dust on my shelf and it needs to go. Like it's just not one of my favorite Chicken Noodle Soup books. It wasn't bad, but just, I don't know, collecting dust. Gotta go. Bye, girl. On Angelical Road was one of the most confusing books that I've ever read in my life, and I had no idea what was going on. I couldn't remember the characters or the time frame or who was who or what the hell was going on. It was just like a very confusing time for me. The timeline, the characters, everything was just confusing. So everybody raved about this book, but I was just like, I can't get into it. I couldn't get into it. So I did finish it, but it was confusing and it gotta go. So the next book that I have is It's a Wonderful Death, which is a book that I read during my time in a book club, and it was okay, but it was like, it's kind of like a teenage book, kind of. This girl gets a second chance at life and she goes back and she was a mean girl and she like regrets all that she did and blah blah blah. So yeah, this needs to be unhauled, so bye bye. And the last four that I have are The Red Sister by Mark Lawrence, and this book is the first book that I DNF'd. Like, I've never DNF'd a book. Like, I am a true writer. Even if I don't really like the plot or the characters or they're driving me crazy, I literally will push through to not stop because it kind of drives me crazy to not finish something. So this is the first book that I've ever DNF'd, and I don't remember what it was about. I don't remember the characters. I don't remember anything, and it just put me into a reading slump for like 2 months. So I was just like, okay, this one has to go. And the next one that I have is Leave Your Mark. This book I read during Booktubeathon, and it's supposed to be like how to build your business and social media presence for your business and how to be the best boss you could be, whatever. Like, I like business type books, but this book drove me crazy. It was not at all what it said it was gonna be. It wasn't like any information in here that could be useful for me at 26, where like none of it was useful. Maybe if you were like 18 or 19 and just getting into the workforce, maybe, because there was a lot of resume type notes, but for me it's a no. So this one needs to be unhauled. Bye bye. The next book that I have is A Wrinkle in Time, and this is a classic, so I wanted to read it because, you know, your girl Oprah was in the movie that just came out, and I really wanted to read it, and I wanted to go see the movie, which I didn't even do. But yeah, I picked this one up because it's a classic. Everybody was raving about it, and I mean, I guess it's okay. I mean, I know it's like nostalgia for some people, and some people read books when they're young and then they go back and read it as an adult, and it's not as, yay, as exciting as it was before. So for me, just reading it as an adult the first time, it wasn't a big deal for me. I didn't really, I don't know, it wasn't my favorite, so I need to unhaul this one. And it has like pictures and stuff in it, so from the movie, so that's pretty cool, and I think somebody else will appreciate it more than me, so I'm just gonna unhaul this one. And the final book that I am unhauling is, I'm so gonna be so happy to get this damn book off of my shelf, is 50 Shades of Grey. This needs to go. It needs to go. This book, actually, I lied. So The Red Sister isn't the first book that I DNF'd. This is the original. This is the OG. I literally got 13 chapters into this book and never went any further. Like, I could not do it. But people were raving about it so much, I felt like I read the damn book. But this one, I just couldn't do it. The main character drove me crazy. The plot was so predictable. It was just like a soccer mom's fantasy, and I was just like not having it at all. I don't know. It just wasn't one of my favorites. And I thought I would always go back and try it again, but I never did. And yeah, it's just better if I just get rid of this one. That is it. Those are all of the books that I am unhauling from my bookshelf and from all my book collections and everything. It's a nice little stack over here, and I'm gonna try to make a book mystery, so stay tuned for that. But yeah, those are all the books that I'm unhauling today. So I'm in a corner on the ground, and I'm going to use all the books that I have from my unhaul to make a book mystery, and hopefully I have enough. I feel like I have a good little stack, but it's all about the sizes too. So I'm going to use this little space right here to make a little area for the book mystery. So we're going to see how this comes out. Let's go. Here are all the books that I've unhauled. I have them in a little stack. Oh, there's my foot. I have them in a little stack right here, and I'm going to use all these books to make a little Bookmas tree. So let's get into it. Okay, so Bookmas tree complete. I was worried because I started running out of books, and I was like, okay, how can I wrap this top area up? But it's done. It's over here in the corner. It looks kind of cute, so I'm gonna show you guys now. I'm not gonna lie, I'm pretty proud of my little tree. Sweating, and the tree is done. Oh god. Okay, so that is all for this video. Thank you guys so much for watching. Always remember, read a book, keep your life interesting, and I'll see you guys